Throughout the centuries, the world has slowly developed into an interconnected and technologically advanced planet. What many once believed to be an extensive world has now become a smaller place. This phenomenon has been made possible by the magnifying effects created from the force of globalization. Over the next several minutes, we will explore the contribution of globalization in economies, as well as the power of this force to shape one's identity. By the end of the 5-video series, you should be able to formulate an opinion on whether we should or shouldn't embrace globalization.
To begin, globalization is the process of regional economies and cultures integrating into a unified society. In this topic, there aren't only a few elements that summarize globalization, but a multitude of perspectives and factors that discuss this concept. Although this force offers limitless amounts of opportunities, it can also present some impassable disadvantages. Because of globalization, advances in the global network of communication, transportation, and technology have been made possible. Simply said, this means that the interaction and exchange of goods and information can be done easier and more efficiently.
Advances in transportation and communication have allowed for a kickstart in international trade. Until recently, various challenges once discouraged international commerce. Instead of distance or conflict being deterrents, the main barrier to free trade was tariffs. Tariffs are taxes imposed on imported goods and services to restrict trade in order to protect local industries. For example, a company produces cars in country A and exports them to country B where they cost $15,000. A 10% tariff requires the company to pay the government of country B $1,500. NAFTA, short for the North American Free Trade Agreement, eliminated many tariffs in 1994 between Canada, Mexico, and the U.S. to establish free trade.
International trade can create problems, however. Disparity, which is the unequal distribution of resources, only allows few to prosper. Does disparity exist? The answer is simple. Geography, land features, climate, and the geographical location is essential to the success of a country's economy. A country naturally has a resource that another nation needs. Through trade, both economies will thrive. This concept leads us to the notion of global north and global south, the haves and the have-nots. Global north represents the economically developed societies such as North America and Europe, while global south represents the struggling economies like parts of Africa and India.
There are cases where economies in the global south may benefit from globalization. Transnational corporations are organizations that control production in nations other than their home country. Companies with roots in capitalist economies such as McDonald's, Coca-Cola, and Nike operate factories in various countries across the globe. Multinational corporations support foreign economies by providing thousands of jobs in many Asian and South American economies and improve quality of life. These companies are regularly criticized, however, for exploiting cheap labor and ignoring environmental concerns. Individuals who support TNCs would have a hyper-globalist perspective because they support the sovereignty globalization enables.
While economies experience both benefits and disadvantages through globalization, similar effects impacts the identity of some individuals. International interaction would not exist without the advances in transportation and communication brought on by globalization. Because of these technologies, the world has developed into a pluralistic society where individuals may have their own beliefs yet accept the value of others. There are plenty of advantages that globalization has created for individual and communal identity. An example of this is the cultural diversification in Canada. Food, religion, apparel, and languages are a part of this.
Globalization has created disadvantages that demand equal consideration. Culture and identity have been restricted or erased due to assimilation. Groups are assimilated into the identity of the dominant culture. An example of this is the assimilation of First Nations when Europeans colonized Canada. Further expanded upon in Episode 2, this group was marginalized and deprived of the resources they once protected. Homogenization, which is the erasing of differences, is the outcome of these processes. Although it may erase cultures, this effect can eliminate conflict.
A recent take on homogenization is the spread of popular culture. The introduction of trends by mass media such as internet, Facebook, and YouTube has led to the Americanization of many cultures. This enables an increase in consumerism, but it takes away the individuality. As shown over the last few minutes, globalization has greatly impacted the world's economies and identities in many positive and negative ways. To further develop your opinion on the imperialistic motives of globalization, watch Episode 2 of this series.